Hi ladies and gentlemen, well, another little video for you. This idea came about by one of my students mounting the piece correctly, and I'll explain this as I'm going along, mount the piece correctly, however turning it to the wrong shape. And what he would have ended up with is a bowl with the screw at the bottom. So basically I'm going to mount this on the screw chuck there, screwed on. What he did was he started to shape the outside of the bowl, and so as I caught him in time, and so anyway I said, look, don't worry about it, I've got an idea. And this is what it evolved into, and I thought it was quite a nice little idea to save his bowl. What we're going to do is make a beehive box. We called it a beehive box. It's a really nice idea, nice design. I'm going to burn it and scorch it, but what I also want to show you is how to make and use a little beading tool, and it changes shape depending on the original tool you use, or size, should I say, the size of the bead. It depends whether you use an eighth of an inch, a quarter of an inch, a half inch, a 3/8. The bead will change depending on the gouge, the size of the spindle gouge. That's what we're going to change. We're going to change the spindle gouge into a beading tool. I'll show you how to grind that up when we get there. So first thing I'm going to do is, I've got a screw chuck here. I'm going to screw it on. Might as well do that now. Whenever you're putting a screw chuck or a piece of wood onto a screw chuck, make sure that the piece of wood is tight against the plate part of the screw chuck. If there's a slight gap, you will feel and hear a harmonic in the cut when you make a cut. So lock the spindle and make sure that is really tight up against the face till it does resist. Leaving the corners on actually helps you to get a little bit of a better grip on that, and that is tight up against the face of the screw chuck. So move the tool rest over to here, make sure the tool is cut in the centre line. I'm just setting this up. First tool we're going to use is a bowl gouge. I'll set up so you can see what I'm doing, and we're going to do a push cut across here, same as any other bowl on the other videos. A push cut, a draw cut. We're going to size for the tenon. I'm going to put a bigger tenon on. At the very end we're going to re-chuck this between centres, take the foot away, or take the tenon away, and have a nice slightly hollowed out base so the piece sits nicely. So push cut, draw cut, parting tool to put a tenon on, clear the rest of the wood away so I know what I've got left to work with. Then I'm going to start to put some of the shape of the piece in from this side, sand it, or sand the base, finish it, turn it around. Actually you don't have to finish it, we can do that later. So we'll turn it around, finish off the shape, then we'll go onto the lid, we'll make the lid, put the lid together onto the piece, onto the box or bowl part, turn them together, then I'll show you how to do the beads, scorch it and finish it off. It's a really nice little project. So come back to me in just a minute. I've just kind of waffled there for a while, and we'll start doing the cuts. Okay, see you in a minute. Okay, so we're just about to make the cut. Basically that bevel should be parallel to the cut that we're making. If the tool was in that position, all you're doing is cutting with the tip of the tool and you're just dragging a point across there. The bevel acts like the sole of the plane and should just be floating behind the cut. The tip of the tool from the mid and below is doing the work for you. You're cutting. Okay, so let's switch the lathe on. I've got it at slow speed. I'm going to build it up to the speed that I want. Much safer. If you're unsure or less experienced, wear face shield. Do not risk your safety for a piece of wood. It's really not worth it. So use whatever safety precautions you feel you need to use. So turn that on. It's a really fairly well balanced piece of wood. 1300, 15, 17. What's the diameter? The diameter is about 7 inches. 1800. Gonna pick the cut up. So I'm going to close the flute, pick the cut up, then open the tip, open the flute so I can just see the tip of the tool cutting. Then I'm just going to lean forwards. The tool is held in 3 places, there, and in my hip, as in the previous videos. let's just stop that and have a look. It's not quite round, but I want to show you that is almost a polished surface. Okay, it's not quite round. You can see I've missed a bit there, there's a bit there, there's a bit there. But generally, where the cut is, it's absolutely flawless. No tear out, nice and smooth, almost polished. That bevel is just literally floating behind the cut. I'm not in that position. The slightest movement off the bevel is going to result in little lines on the surface like a record. So if you don't get the lines, your bevel's in exactly the right position. Couple of more cuts maybe. Just take it through, stop that. It's round, absolutely round, no tear out, nice, smooth finish. Not quite round there, but it doesn't matter. I'm actually going to be shaping the piece this way. So I'm going to move the tool rest around to here. Let's just put that there. Move the tool rest to this position, and now I'm just going to put the light here. I'm going to do a draw cut. Tip of the tool's cutting right on the centre line, drawing the tool towards me. I'm not closing the flute down and using the whole wing and scraping. I'm using the first tip of the tool, the first maybe 1/8 of an inch of the tip of the tool on there, and just draw it towards you. Again, the flute's not too open. Never open the flute past 45 degrees, otherwise you're going to risk getting a catch. Tip of the tool. Nice simple draw cut. I find it easier to draw something towards me than pushing it away. The Japanese got it right with their saws and planes. One more small cut. There we go. It really only needs to be flat where I'm going to put the tenon. So I'm going to stop that, show the cut. I'm taking this corner off anyway, or a little bit of it. That's nice and flat and smooth. A little bit here. I do want to get rid of that, so one more small cut. There we go, that's got rid of it. So I'm going to reposition, set up, put the tenon, clear the excess wood away, and then we'll move the tool rest back around here and start to form some of the outside shape. Okay, so I've got it set up, got my dividers. I'm going to measure the inside. We're going to hold on to a tenon, and if you notice, the jaws are about 1/8 of an inch apart, which means it's more or less perfectly round there for holding that way, and it's perfectly round on the outside for holding into a recess. You're going to get better surface area of grip than opening up too far and just having, if you were holding on to a tenon, 8 corners hanging on or digging in there. You get a better surface area of grip. I think it's safer. So measure there, switch the lathe on. You're going to scribe with the left leg and match up with the right leg. Do not let that right leg touch, otherwise these will flick out of your hand and stick in your neck. Okay, so I'm eyeballing the middle in between these two legs. I'm going to scribe with the left leg. It's not quite there, move it over, there we go. So I'm scribing with the left leg, it matches up with the right leg. So I've got that diameter right in the middle. We're going to swap over, use the parting tool. It's cutting right on the center line. So I'm just more or less going to do a plunge cut straight in. This tool is more of a plunge cut tool. There we go. One more cut here. That opens up that little bit of wood there. We can then get the bowl gouge and remove tip of the tool. Just plane this down. Small careful cut. No need to be in any hurry whatsoever. There we go. Now then, that was a straight 90-degree cut. I'm going to go in at a slight angle with another little parting tool, which is this one here. You can see it's sharpened at a slight angle. I'm going to push that in square at the front here, and it will automatically cut the right little dovetail angle on there. So now I've got my dovetail. There's no need to sand and finish that just yet. We'll do that at the very end when we remove the foot. It'll be far easier, and we should be able to hold it from the inside with the chuck. So that'll do fine. Switch that off. Decent cut, not going to take much sanding at all. Not bothered about that, that will come away later. This will be slightly hollowed out at the very end so it sits nicely. So now what I'm going to do, unscrew it, change over chucks, put it in the jaws, then we're going to start to form the outside shape of the beehive box. Okay, so join me in just a minute. Right, so I've got it remounted on the lathe. What we're going to do is just clean off this face. Again, tip of the tool, nice little draw cut, just drawing that towards me. I'm holding the tool there, there, and the back of the handle is in my hip. When a tool's cutting right, you can hear it. There's a certain sound to it, there's a certain feel. That's fine. Right, so now, just let that stop. Move the tool rest around to here. I'm just going to reposition the cameras because I want it to get exactly the cut. I'm going to drop that tool rest just a touch. Notice what I did there, put the tool on the tool rest. I want to be cutting right on the center line, kind of in that position. And we're going to start to form the outside of the box. Now then, I'm just looking, what I'm trying to do is look to see where this curve's going to come through here. I'm looking at this diameter, that's an important diameter. That needs to be open enough because at some stage what I'm going to do is get the smaller jaws, because I don't think the big jaws are going to fit in there. I'm going to get the smaller jaws. They're going to, sorry, if that was hollowed out and shaped, I'm going to turn it around, hold that, put the hole there, expand these and hold it. So that's an important measurement. I want the jaws to be able to fit into there so it can expand and hold it when we turn it around. That may change. It's not fixed in stone. It depends on the outside curve. So we're going to start by moving the tool rest around to here. I'll start to cut this corner off first, and I'm going to do push cuts to get this shape. Okay, let me just move the camera and we'll start doing the cuts.